Howdy, 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 and welcome to the Red Dirt Aggie Show. I'm Bryan, aka the Red Dirt Aggie, and we are so glad to have you here with us today. And today we're going to be talking sports. It's been a while since we went and had ourselves an Aggie sports focused episode, and I think it's about time, especially after week one looking so great for us Aggies. We start off with a look back at last week, and the Aggies were dominant last week as they really steamrolled New Mexico, hung 52 points on them. You had Noah Thomas popping off, catching touchdowns left and right. Connor Wigman looked really good out there. No interceptions again. He continues his streak of games with no interceptions. And we hope it continues through the whole season. We'll see, though. Obviously, it's very tough to do that in the SEC, but he's looking like a seasoned veteran out there. With this being his first full season starting. So there's a lot of hype coming out of Aggie land. You have some takeaways from week one. First and foremost, is it's only week one. You don't want to build too much hype and excitement around the fact that you just blew out New Mexico. But at the same time, these past few seasons with Jimbo at the helm as head coach, A&M has been struggling to even truly dominate those weaker teams, even when we do beat them. Last year we had a weak team come out and absolutely shock us in Kyle Field. That team will remain nameless, but they do start with the letter A, and I'm sure many of you remember it, and I'm sure I'll hear it in the comments on this video. But seeing the Aggies score 52 was a beautiful sight, really more beautiful than any kind of offensive production we saw last year, save maybe that LSU game and to end the season. And this team is loaded talent-wise. And it'll be a huge measuring stick game coming up against Miami for both teams, really. Texas A&M, a measuring stick game for them. And that, is this offense the real deal, right? Is the Petrino offense going? Is the Petrimbo train? I'll call it the Petrimbo train. But I'll take Petrimbo as well. That's actually, both of those are a word that was shared with me by one of our good friends and guests frequently here on the podcast, Colin. The Petrimbo train, or the Petrimbo train, however you want to say it, right? Is it going to keep on rolling and carry us to victory as it did there in week one? But really just a phenomenal game from the Ags all around. As I pull up the box score here, just to look back, I mean, really remarkable. Just a very clean game all the way around, no turnovers. And you see Evan Stewart with well over 100 yards receiving. Noah Thomas obviously popping off as well. And that receiving core for A&M is just something special this year. You know, you look at guys like Anais Smith back again. The experience he provides there is just invaluable. And then you have Moose Muhammad, another guy that was... Sometimes you forget he's there too, and it's just like, how can you forget right after that LSU game last year? But you got guys, Noah Thomas, Evan Stewart, Anais Smith, and Moose, and all of them had big games last week. Moose just with 3 catches, but he had that touchdown. And then you had Noah Thomas with 3 touchdowns, and Evan Stewart with 2 as well. And Anais Smith had 40 yards receiving. He wasn't able to find the end zone, but also making a big impact out there as well. And we might have one of the best receiving corps in the country on paper. It's just going to be, we're just going to have to wait and see if they can continue to execute like they did. And one thing you notice looking back at the film, I saw this in a video circulating on social media around Twitter and stuff, is that Petrino's not afraid if he finds a weakness to go out and exploit it. And that's why you saw Noah Thomas. They just exploited that mismatch all night long and found success with it. And they even reran the same play twice in a row, one time in the red zone, to get the ball to Evan Stewart in the corner. They ran it the first time, and he was wide open, but it was a bad ball from Connor. He was under a little bit of pressure, and he missed the throw just a little bit. But they saw he got open and beat his man. And Petrino said, all right, well, let's run it again. And they ran it again, and guess what? Evan Stewart got open again, and that time it was a touchdown. So I'm not saying that's not going to work every week, right, against every caliber of SEC opponent or big-name opponent that we're going to be playing. But, it took some guts to run the same play twice if you're that confident that it's going to work. So if something's working, Petrino's not afraid to keep doing it until it's not working anymore, and that's kind of an old school approach, but it's also something that's been missing in a somewhat sometimes overcomplicated Jimbo Fisher ran offense. And I think sometimes simplifying it down to this is working, let's keep doing it, is something that the Aggies could benefit from this year in a Petrino-led offense. I think we also got a even more definitive answer that Jimbo's comfortable with Petrino running the offense. They asked him on the sideline, how that was going, and he seemed pretty happy there towards the end of the game. Jimbo did. He said Petrino called a great game, or his exact words, I believe. And I think that leaves no doubt that Bobby Petrino was out there calling plays, and he did a heck of a job, it looked like. And Connor played his heart out, so did those wide receivers. So it's just nice to see the Aggie offense rolling 52 points up on the board, albeit against a weak opponent. 52 points is never a bad thing to see. To get tuned up before we head to Hard Rock Stadium. And last time we were in Hard Rock Stadium playing down there in Miami, that was this, right? The Orange Bowl back in the COVID year. A lot of people thought we should have been in the playoff. I'm one of those people as well, but that's a story for another day, a debate that's already been had. But anyway, committees hate A&M. But anyway, except there was recently A&M was voted the best public university in the state of Texas. Wall Street Journal put out an article talking about that, as well as one of the top public universities in the nation as well. So congrats to A&M on that. Gig 'em. I'm a proud graduate of Texas A&M, class of 2018. So proud to call myself an Aggie forever. So thanks and gig 'em as always, right? But typically those committees, when it comes to sports, they like to pick on A&M a little bit whenever they can. And, of course, I might sound a little biased saying that, but the committees seem to be a little biased against us as well. Moving forward, that's all I'll say on that topic. Last time we were in Hard Rock, it was a good day for the Aggies. Devon A-Chain was absolutely carving holes in a North Carolina defense, and it led to big victory for the Ags there in the Orange Bowl, a New Year's Six bowl game victory. And that was when Jimbo started the whole "we ain't done yet" thing, right? And well, goodness gracious, I hope we ain't done winning yet this season. And playing like we did week 1 this season, because that was some enjoyable football to watch, and it's something that a lot of Aggies needed to see to feel a little more confident going into the game this week. And now we are favored. We're favored by about 4 or 4.5 points on the road here in Miami. And, sometimes that makes you a little nervous being favored on the road, right? That you're going to get overconfident. I am confident in the Ags. I do think they'll pull it out this weekend. I think it's going to be a big test. This is a big test for our defensive coordinator to see if he can shut down the run game and force Miami to really beat us with the passing game. Their quarterback, Van Dyke, is going to have to come out, and he's going to have to be the one to beat us if we can shut down the run game, because that's what you want if you're A&M. That is exactly what you want if you're A&M, is to try to make Tyler Van Dyke come out and have to beat you. And the reason is A&M has a great secondary. They had a great secondary last year. They have arguably maybe even a better one this year. The only area of concern last year was defending the run, right? We were one of the worst teams at defending the run last year. So you want to see if hopefully that the schemes are better this year and that some adjustments have been made on that defensive side of the ball. Everything the A&M did defending the pass last year was beautiful. One of the top teams in the country, so if they can just keep that rolling this year and then also be able to stop the run, then that's going to be something that's wonderful. And if you look back last year, Miami struggled throwing the ball against us. They still did have decent yardage picked up on the ground. That last year, though, that score ended up being 17-9. A&M winning somewhat of an ugly game in Kyle Field. I remember being at the game thinking, "Oh, that was an awesome game," but then watching highlights and just kind of like, revisiting it later the next week, like, wow, both sides kind of played rough in that game. There was a lot of turnovers and mistakes, and, it wasn't pretty, but the Aggies did get the job done last year. Miami, kind of in a similar situation as us this year, looking to bounce back. They actually only won 5 games last year as well. They missed a bowl game, and just looking for a bounce back year after having disappointing season with big expectations as they did last year. And so that's why it's such a measuring stick program for both of these. A measuring stick program. I'm sorry, a measuring stick game for both of these programs. Mario Cristobal is looking to get a signature win early in the year. So is Jimbo Fisher, and you want to prove to all your haters out there and your own fan base as well that you have a legit offense. I think both teams want to prove that, and that you have a legit defense, right? Miami's defense looked really good against Miami. They did have a little bit of struggles on offense, and so it's just you want to see if coming into this game, if you're going to live up to the hype. After coming off playing a weak opponent week 1, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're looking better. We're looking like this is going to be a better season, right? Well, let's see. We're going to find out this Saturday at 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern Time. Kickoff over there in Florida, Miami, Florida. It's going to be hot and sticky down there, I'm sure, just like it is here in Texas right now. And, man, it has been hot lately. Man, I hope the power grid can hold up. Its temperatures have been rising and rising. I hope everyone stays good and hydrated and not too much cramping going on down there. That's never good, right? But final score prediction for this weekend: Texas A&M, I'm going to say 38, Miami 17. I think the Ags roll no problem on the week 3 against Louisiana Monroe. And week 3 Louisiana Monroe, I will be in attendance for that game, so we'll try to get some good media and some pictures and just some different things for while we're over there at the game. I'll be over there with Colin. We went to the Miami game together last year, actually. Fun fact. And another interesting little tidbit: this podcast launched last year. One of our first episodes was previewing the Miami game. So it's been about a year since our podcast has come out. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been listening and watching and following along on this journey with me. And we're just going to keep on going. We're trending up in the right direction. We've had a lot of great guests coming on lately for our musician interview episodes. Special thanks to Parker McCollum, obviously, for coming on, as well as just all of our other wonderful guests that we've had come on this show. It's been a blast to keep doing this, and we're not stopping anytime soon. So thanks and gig 'em. And as always, gig 'em and God bless.